The thing that I'm really concerned about, and I think all of us would be concerned about, is if we were to apply a similar way of thinking to other things. Take, for example, something like prevailing wage. If we said, developers are telling us that it's very hard to meet prevailing wage, that it's difficult, that we don't know how much it's going to be set by the state in the coming years. The state may continue to raise the prevailing wage above what the developer can pay. And the city, I don't think anyone in this room would vote for a waiver process for the developer to be able to not pay prevailing wage. I don't think anyone would do that. So why are we doing it here? Are we saying that the emissions produced by this use are nowhere near as important as the jobs? And if you're saying that, that's up to you, that's fine. But what I think we need to be thinking about every day, as much as we can, is being protective of the people of St. Louis when we're thinking about the emissions produced by the amount of energy that this industry will use. This is unlike any industry that we know of in the city of St. Louis that exists today. We know how much energy will need to be built to power this use. We know how much emissions will be used to power this use. Why would we want to provide an off-ramp to that? Why would we want to do that? I think that when you walked outside this morning, you probably were impacted by wildfires from another country because of the air quality that came from far, far away to us today. So what we're saying is, if for some reason this user can't meet this requirement, which, by the way, does allow them to build it themselves. They can build it themselves. That's what data centers are doing in other places in Missouri. They're paying for it because they want to build it. So it's already possible what we've laid out. What we're saying is, in case for some reason the market, which we don't control and we can't control, doesn't allow for this to happen, that we're just going to let this use continue to emit the amount that they want to emit. I think that at some point, elected officials need to stand up and think about what that means for the air we breathe, for our children, and for the future of this country. That is something that we all have to live with. That is something that we agree will be a constant and a condition that we live in. This bill already provides a pathway for this renewable energy requirement to be met. It is a generous pathway. It is a compromise pathway. This has changed enormously from what was presented at Planning Commission in February. That compromise has already taken place. What you're being asked to do today is to say, but if they can't, that's fine. We'll just continue to allow this user to emit as long as they want with no penalty. The bill currently has penalties laid out. So if they aren't meeting the requirements, which again, they will be able to because it's going to be built, if they aren't meeting the requirements, the city of St. Louis will get a financial benefit from that. What is being laid out in this is no benefit, none. But we will continue to breathe the awful air that is created. We will continue to deal with that. People around us will continue to deal with that. I don't think that's good enough. I hope that you don't think that's good enough, especially with what's in this bill is possible. And I understand that the alderman from the 2nd is bringing up Renew Missouri and having them stand in front of this amendment like they support it or they wrote it or they agree. And they may have provided language because they were asked to find something that perhaps other industries would get on board with and say that they now are fine with it. And you know why they're fine with it? Because they know they won't have to do it. They're fine with it because they know they won't have to do it. We have already seen the Board of Public Service approve a major data center that the majority of our constituents, not just my constituents, our constituents didn't want to see happen. That we know will cause incredible amount of pollution in our region and in our city. One of the things provided by the staff members to us is a single 30 megawatt data center, if operating at full capacity with no renewable energy, would be a 20% addition to our industrial emissions. One facility, one 30 megawatt facility without renewable energy requirements would set the city back 2 years in achieving its adopted climate goals. 2 years. One facility. There is up to 27 megawatt facility that is being built now in the city of St. Louis. We're already going backwards. We're already past what we should have done here as a city. What we're talking about today is deciding whether we want to go forward with real renewable energy requirements that we will require people to be met if they want to operate in our city, or whether we want to allow them to just say, well, we couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. That is not how we would treat other things we care about. I know it's not. Absolutely would not. There's not a single way in this world that we would stand up here and say, if a developer said they just couldn't meet prevailing wage, we can get a waiver from the Board of Public Service. No one would vote for that. I'm asking you not to vote for this, because this is important too. Many of you have children. I hope that they have children, and I hope that they can live here. But we are seeing the effects of bad decisions of governments in everyday life. We are seeing the proliferation of heat, of bad air quality, and we have an opportunity to do something about it.